Once again, I'm so grateful for this opportunity the Lord has provided that I may come back home here in Hubbard to again talk with you and give you the updates of some of the things going on in Kenya. You can see the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Kenya, where I've been a pastor from 1991, 31st of December. And so far, the Lord has blessed our church. The Lord has also blessed my ministry, building friendship and fellowship together with many saints, like people in Hubbard here. Thank you so much, Pastor, for, again, welcoming me and you guys, that we may share what is going on in Kenya. And as you can see, Kenya is in East Africa, the land that borders Indian Ocean to the south or the southeast, and then we border Somalia, Ethiopia to the north, southern Sudan, and then Lake Victoria and Tanzania to the south. That means that the Lord has put us there as Evangelical Lutheran Church in Kenya with a purpose. So as some of you may know, there are refugees from Somalia, from Ethiopia, and from southern Sudan. There has not been peaceful out there. So they run to Kenya, and in Kenya, we provide the refugee camp for them. But that is not all. For us, it's also the call for the mission. So we have tried to reach these, our brothers from southern Sudan, from Ethiopia and Somalia, and other parts of Africa. And how do we do that? You remember some many years ago, I was here raising funds for the library for the seminary. Well, I was a pastor, then I was called to be the seminary professor, and ended up being the principal of the seminary. So the first task the church gave me was to raise funds to build the library in the seminary. And thanks be to God that the library was built, and that after that, Evangelical Lutheran Church in Kenya has been serving as one of the centers for confessional Lutheran studies in Africa. So with the help and the fellowship with LCMS, we have had students from Somalia, Ethiopia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Zambia, and those other places. So our seminary is one of those seminaries that is serving the Lutheran Church in Africa in so many ways. And with that, we've been able also to be missionaries to the other countries around. Like early this year, I consecrated the bishop of Southern Sudan. They requested us that ELCK would help them to consecrate a bishop. We have also educated several students from Southern Sudan. And the year before last year, I was in our refugee camp in northern part of the country and ordained several pastors for the Southern Lutheran Church in South Sudan. Interestingly enough, it was this year, actually last month, with the coordination of LCMS, I was called to go to Sri Lanka in Indian Ocean. And there, we help as ELCK to consecrate a bishop for that church. The point I'm trying to make is that the Lord wants us to reach others. And when the Lord blesses, he also provides ways of taking the gospel to the others. So that is so far what ELCK is doing. And as I told you, I've been a pastor, then a professor. Then I was called as regional bishops in one of the dioceses. And now I am called to be the Archbishop. The Archbishop work is more of coordinating the other bishops and the other dioceses and make sure that the theology of the church is correct. If there is issues that needs reconciliation, then the Archbishop's office would avail himself and talk to them. And in that case, the work within ELCK supported, and I want to emphasize this, by LCMS, and to be more particular, supported by St. John Evangelical Lutheran Church in Hubbard. And with that, I really want to thank you, this congregation, through the pastor, for actually supporting ELCK, and not only ELCK, in particular, Ruth and I, my wife. I think your support has been doing a lot to ELCK. Because when I am healthy, when my stomach is full, when I can get fuel for the vehicle you people help me to buy, then I can go to various parts of the country and I can organize various seminars. I can talk to the bishops. If the pastors have problems somewhere with some things, I can go there and encourage them, preach, and organize various things. So from the bottom of my heart, I really want to thank you, and thank you, and thank you. So in Kenya, we, as a developing country and a poor country, a pastoral work involves also humanitarian work. And as I was talking with one pastor here a day before yesterday, and he told me that he grew up in Iowa, and he has never felt that they are short of food. He has never felt the hunger. So whenever we talk about people hungry, he told me, Bishop, sometimes I don't understand. Well, I come from that background. And as I have told you, I was left an orphan when my father died and my mother died. And through the hands of the church, good people, I managed to go to school and managed to start my life. And now the Lord is using me in his church. So in the ELCK, Evangelical Lutheran Church in Kenya, there are so many humanitarian needs. So there are several organizations that are helping orphans, widows, vulnerable children, children in the street, and various ways. The deaf ministry, the physically handicapped. So ELCK is working together to support these needy people within our society. Now, Ruth and I started an organization called Hope for the Destitute, which you people have been supporting immensely. Hope for the Destitute was started out of the need for the orphans. And these orphans, as I have told you, there were many in 90s, early 80s and 90s because of the HIV and AIDS. And when a father would die in a community, in a society like us, in which many fathers are the breadwinners. During my time, many women did not get a opportunity to go to school, so they will take care of the children at home. The fathers will look for jobs outside the family, and when they will bring food home. Then the HIV and AIDS struck the country, and many young adults died. So it was during that time when the number of orphans were coming up. And when a father dies, then a mother dies, then the orphans remain. They will remain there, and nobody takes care of them. They will run to the streets, or they will run to relatives. And because the relatives may not be able to provide enough together with their families, these children ends up in the streets. On the streets in the town, they will look for food. They may steal, they can scavenge wherever they may get food. They go to the garbages and try to pick what they can get. Or in some instances, young girls, they would be employed as housemaids, many of whom are abused, or they will opt to go for the early marriages. Those marriages don't work because they are still young children. They get pregnant, they get one or two children, and then they are chased away. They don't have ways of getting something to support their families. So Ruth and I started what we call Hope for the Destitute. And this was actually meant to help children around our parish. I was still a parish pastor in one region in our country. So the children kept on coming. The number was swelling, and we thought, what do we do? What do we do with this situation? So we talked with the congregation, and we formed a small committee, and we formed a small group. We raised some funds, but the needs kept on increasing. So in the year 2000, I came to the United States, and I met a friend in the seminary. And this friend, in December, he told me, Joseph, let's go to my place. And this friend happened to be coming from Iowa. And he happened to be coming from Muscatine, Iowa, where President Brian Sanders was the pastor. So when I went there, we kept on talking, and then President Brian Sanders in Muscatine, our Lutheran Church, they adopted Hope for the Destitute. And they said, Joseph, we will work ways to help you help these children. So that continued for that time. They also worked to bring my family up here, and I studied for 5 years at the seminary and finally completed my studies and went back to Kenya. And as probably you might have seen, some of us from Africa, when we come to study and we have friends in America, you complete your studies, you want to stay for some time and work and enjoy the provisions in America. But then the time came for me to go back. And I said I was going back. My children were here. And I think some of my fellow students thought that I was crazy or insane. They asked me, why are you going back very soon like this? Then I said, my church sent me here to study and go back to work there. And they say, well, we know your church, you don't have salary and all these things. And I said, the Lord will provide. The Lord who brought me here will provide. So I went back and started to work there. Thanks be to God. I think when I came here in America, the second time, and then through the friendship of Brian Sanders and our brother Matthew Riga, I came to Hubbard. And Hubbard Church, St. John Evangelical Lutheran Church adopted me. And since then, we've never been hungry. Yes, I have to say this boldly, and I thank God for you. And I stand before you. When you send me and Ruth some small amount of dollars to support our family, leave alone Hope for the Destitute, you do not know how many people you people are feeding. You don't know. Because in our context, when you have food within a community, you can't see some people suffering out there and leave them. They will come. And we have a farm project in Hope for the Destitute. And Ruth is working very hard to make sure that we have grain. We eat a lot of grain, maize and beans. And during the harvest, Ruth will engage some local women to help in weeding, harvesting. We don't harvest with combined harvesters. We just do it with our hands. And after that, she will give these young women some maize. And even in the community, when people are hungry, like we've been having a very serious drought in Kenya. In northern Kenya, we've been having a serious drought of about 3 years without rain. And some of you who can Google up, you will see in the northern part of Kenya and the northeastern, animals have been dying, and now people are dying because of hunger. So when things go bad, and especially with widows and some poor widowers, they will come to our home, and Ruth will give them grain. We will buy bread for them. If they want some medicine, we have a way to support. And by supporting, we also give them the gospel. This is outside Hope for the Destitute. This is just our home. So the point is that we really appreciate your support that comes to us regularly, Ruth and I. And I thank God for you, and I pray for you that the Lord will give you more time and the same generous heart to continue helping others. Back to Hope for the Destitute. So Hope for the Destitute, we have the farm project, home-based project, Kibos Hope Academy, and a catechetical seminar and sponsorship program. I think our son did something with this. It's well organized now than the way it was. Thank you so much. Yeah. So in Hope for the Destitute, we have the farm project. The farm project we started in order to grow some food in our locality, in order to find a way of getting local generating project. So with the help of you people and others in Iowa, we managed to buy a piece of land. And that piece of land, we grow sugarcane. The sugarcane, when we grow it and we harvest, we get money. When we get money, we feed our children in Hope for the Destitute. And the programs of taking our children to school. So we also locally want to do some things that help Hope for the Destitute. The second one is home-based care. When parents, especially the man dies, in Kenya, we have a local Kenyan house built out of mud. So after the deceased kills the husband, the woman remains with the children. And some of them have no houses, because this house will be there for 10, 15 years. So we started a program to ask you, our brothers and sisters, to support building houses for widows. And so far it has been for $1,000, we will be able to buy corrugated tins that we put on top, and then there are some logs, and we smear with the mud. It's a simple Kenyan traditional house. Because of the inflation, it has gone up a little bit, but still we appreciate whatever God gives that we may help these orphans. Now what do? Kibos Hope Academy. And in 2015, we built the school. In 2015, we built the school. The school was built with corrugated iron sheets. I wanted a picture that would show that. But back there, up on the left, you can see that that is a building. So it was built by corrugated iron sheets. Even here, you can see that child is standing next to the kitchen. So in that way, we built that school. It's a temporary building. And this has been helping us very much because we can bring the children, the orphans, some those who cannot have relatives to stay with, they will come to stay in the school. And they board there. So we give them food, we give them education, and more importantly, we give them the Word of God. That is very important. Now, some of these children at home, they don't know when they will get the other meal. So some children coming to school will get food, and they will get drinks at 10 a.m., and then at lunch they will get food. In most cases, it is maize with beans boiled together. Or sometimes it's rice together with beans. They will eat that. Some days there would be, our staple food is ugali. Ugali is made of the cornmeal and stars hard. So that one either with meat or with vegetables. So some of the children, after getting the morning porridge and then lunch, they may not get another food again until the following day they come to school. So that is very good for us to provide for these children. So school gives us opportunity to bring these children together, bring them up as family of Christ. And actually, more importantly, bringing these children together has been a great blessing for Hope for the Destitute. Because there, we get time to interact with them more and more. This is a class of the Catechetical Seminar. The Catechetical Seminar is a program which Hope for the Destitute started a long time ago. During Christmas holidays, we will bring all our children. Now these children, we started with 2 in our house with Ruth. We came up to the number 50. Now we have 150. Some are in school, primary school, our school here. Some are in high school. Some are in college. Some have even finished the school, and now some are working. Those who are working also, we encourage them and they support the school. Now with this program, catechetical program, we bring all of them together. We teach them the Word of God. We also feed them, but more importantly, they also encourage each other. These children meet, they encourage each other. Those who have grown up, those who have been blessed with other opportunities. And therefore, it reminds the children that the poor situation they are living will not be there forever. God cares for them, and God has brought some good hands to support them. That is very important. So far, for $2,000, we have been managing this catechetical seminar for 1 week. How to help? There is a sponsorship program for the children. You can sponsor a child. Here are some of them. You can. The one in the elementary school is $50 per month. For 12 months, $600. For those who are in high school and in the college, $100 per month will help a child to get education, to get food and support. So these are the programs we have for Hope for the Destitute. Farm Project, we want to expand Farm Project so that we are able to have more land and be able to produce more crops, and we move and supply for our orphans and widows. There is also catechetical seminar that I've just talked about, sheltered widows sheltered program, which I've also talked about, and the sponsorship program. Now I left one there, Kibos Hope Academy. And this is the question, why am I here today? I am here going around talking with you brothers and sisters in the Lord to consider supporting, building school for the orphans, school called Kibos Hope Academy. This school is at the center of the work of Hope for the Destitute, because out of it, we've been able to help a good number. When we built the school with the iron tins, the government gave us 5 years to build another one, because in our country, in order to start a school, you must apply to the government. And then the government will do the inspection, they will give recommendations, and then they will give you go ahead. As a church, Evangelical Lutheran Church in Kenya, we have a lot of reputations with the government, because we do a lot of humanitarian work within our country. So whenever we talk with the government, and some of those people in the government have gone through these mission schools or the church schools, so they respect that. So they gave us 5 years to work and build the permanent building for the school. So we went and did the drawing. You can see up there to the left is that the old building, which is now very old and is not really good for the children. Then to the right is the building of the school. And after talking with friends, I decided to take 1 month off from my office to come visit various friends and talk about the building of the school. So this is what we have now as the first priority. Building this school will open so many doors of helping the children. We also have a van there, which we will someday improve. It is now so small. And then to the left, down there, you can see a newly built widow's house. And to the right, down there, you can see the sugarcane project going on. So, Aboit Lutheran Church has accepted to receive the donations for the Hope for the Destitute in general. But there is a board that is working for Hope for the Destitute here in America. And the secretary and the one who sends the newsletter is Diane Mollering. Is a sister to our pastor here, Matthew. Yes. So we are, I will be meeting them. And we have talked with my daughter, Monica, and with others. If the money for the school building this, it's not a small money, will be channeled through another church. But that is a discussion going on. But so far, we request that you pray for these programs. You pray for the school building, and if God moves your heart, you want to contribute or donate, we would really appreciate to build this school. So far, so good. Thank you for listening. God bless you.
Does anyone have any questions? How much does land cost?
It depends with where you get the land. But for a farmland, if we get $3,000 in those rural areas, we can get an acre of, yeah. But you're not going to believe how much we used to buy the first land. During that time, it was very cheap. And actually for $5,000, we bought about 10 acres. But now the prices have gone up. Yes.
All right, any other questions? All right, very good. Let's close with prayer. Gracious Lord, we pray that you continue to send your blessings to Kenya and work through Bishop Omolo, bring the gospel to those in need, and help physically to those in need as well. We thank you for the opportunity we have of hearing of his work. We pray that you help us open our hearts to be of assistance where we can. For Jesus' sake, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor. Yes.